All right, guys, I've got a little commission here that I'm going to film, and I'm going to hit it with some gesso, and then we'll get stuck into some painting. All right, so this stuff here, I'm just going to wet that brush, grab a fair bit. Now, because I want to have some texture, I don't really mind about just piling it on. I'm certainly not going to sand it back, but if you're going to do some fine work, like real fine artwork, let's say you're going to do some portraiture or something like that, it's probably good getting a little bit of wet and dry, or a very, very light sandpaper. And once it is dry, it's a good idea just to give it a little rub over, and it just brings it back nice and smooth. And believe me, it won't hurt the canvas at all. With a little bit of, you would think, you know, putting some, some sandpaper over your canvas, it'd possibly do some damage. But once you cake this gesso on, it's, it really does help strengthen your canvas. And this is pretty tight as it is. Like I said, it's already come, most of the time, these sorts of canvases do come pre-gessoed or pre-primed. I just still like to do it because the paint just loves to soak into that brand new gesso. And it also pulls that, again, pulls that canvas so tight. As you can see, big dobs there. I really want to get this on nice and quick because it is so hot here. A nice balmy night here in Australia, outback Australia in Broken Hill. This won't take long to dry at all. Still going to put just a little, I'm just going to take that straight out of there. Is that, look at that. I'm not scared. I'm not scared at all. Actually, I just wanted to demonstrate it's that dry. This top left hand corner is drying already. And just to prove it, you watch this. My brush is actually sticking to the canvas as I'm trying to paint. It's that hot here. No, not really. Not that hot. But there you go. A nice coat. But it is actually drying. I'm not joking. It is actually drying as I'm painting that on. So as you can see, I'm just cross-hatching from left to right over the top here. Just bring that down, and then that's going to be ready very shortly to paint. So I'll just go up and down now. That has every bit of this canvas covered. All right, see you shortly. All right, so after all that, I'm back. I've got some different colors now. Different size canvas, and I'm just going to work a little bit better with this arrangement. It's I'm not sure what the flower is, but apparently it comes off a cactus. It's quite pretty. The red's amazing. So I will have the reference photo up there. No doubt it's already there, or I'll start it now. And I've gessoed this one. This is a 200 by 200. Not sure what that is in inches. I reckon possibly 8 inches by 8 inches or so. And now I've got some. I'm away from home, so I haven't got all my good selection of paints. But I would rather that to be a raw umber, but I think it is a, what have we got here? Burnt umber. That's a burnt umber, so it's not far off. We've got some lamp black. We've got some, why do I keep putting them upside down? Sap green. Sap green's fantastic, as I've said in the past. And what's this one? Oh, monastral green. Very much like a poster color, but it should translate well, even though this is going to be a little bit of a floral. Should translate quite well. All right, we will see the odd bug flying around tonight. Like I said, it's pretty hot here. So now I'm just going to go straight on the canvas with some of these darker colours. This is that burnt umber, and I'm just going to put them straight onto the canvas. Get some of this lamp black. Do the same. Just put that straight onto the canvas. I'm going to sort of just stay away from that centre if I can. Just about started to paint into it, but I want to start to just pretty much a dark area around the edges here. A bit more of that brown, yeah, that's good. That's really good. And this is going to, I've said it in past videos, it does push the viewer's eye the darker your edges, it does push your viewer's eye more to the center or whatever the subject might be. And that's kind of what we want to do here today. Now I'm going to paint my edges so it looks nice and good and it doesn't have to be framed. I've done a great little video on this where I've put a little bit of netting at the back and a little stand, and in there, it's a rose painting, I put potpourri. I might actually link that to this video because that was a great little video on just a kind of a little bit of a painting and crafty video at the same time. But anyway, I'll just add a little bit more of that burnt umber. Like I said, perfect world, I'll be using raw umber. It's one of my favorite colors, raw umber. It's almost, you can turn it into a black. You can just do so much with it. Oh, that's good. Now I don't want to blend. I'm just, as you can see, I'm just going around these edges, and you'll see why in a minute. But I don't really want to blend that brown in too much. I know it looks like a little bit of a mess, but believe me, it will make sense. I'm just going to smooth those edges out around here because that's where our beautiful big red cactus flower is going to go, whatever it's called. I don't know what it's called, but that's, like I said, it is quite nice. And you can see it anyway there. No doubt I've got people yelling at the screen saying what sort of flower it is. So, another hot one here in Australia today. Like I said, I'm in Broken Hill at the moment, working up here, and so I bring my lights and other little things and make my little studio in the houses that I live in while I'm up here working, renovating houses and that. All right, so that's quite good. Quite happy with that. All right, okay, now give that brush a clean, bit of a clean there. Nice coffee look, isn't it? That's the end of that, nice in my little pink cup. All right. Oakley on the Doakley. So now I'm going to go, what am I going to go? I'm going to go some of this sap green in these corners. Got a bit of water in there. Sap green in these corners, each corner there, and we'll top it up. Now, I'll get the sap green in there first. Sort of move that around. That corner. Bring that one right out. Let's run out up there. Kind of want to make it look like this flower's right in the center of this cactus bush. Now again, I'll paint my edges. Don't be too worried about getting exact because it's only just if you don't want to put a frame around these little canvases, you can put a little stand or a little hanger at the back and pretty much just hang it as is. Okay, like I said, you may as well knock it out the way. Look at that paint all over me. You may as well knock it out now while you're moving it around, and because there's a pain to come back later. You don't really want to have to, come back over it. Now, which way did I have that? I reckon I had that. Which way was that? Can't remember. I reckon it was this way. Yep. Get a little bit of a direction to where you want things to be. I'm just going to sort of blend that out because this is not to, we're not going to emphasize these green edges of the cactus. All right, so yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Might just even blend that in a little bit more. All right, grab a bit of that brown, bring it back over. So that should, now, like I said, I'm going to do a bit of a whimsical sort of almost abstract rendition here. Okay, just got some fresh water there, Put that aside. Got you, got that. All right, have a quick swig of my coffee. All right, I've got some yellow ochre here. Yellow ochre and some titanium white. Put that over here. I've done them in a line for a reason, because I want to capture that paint line with my palette knife. So, or plastic spatula in this case. All right, so I'm just gonna start moving that around in such a way. Nice random sort of random edges here. Kind of, my idea is that it's going to resemble the cactus spikes in a way, and just like I said, just give it a little bit more interest. See if I get some white in there. In such a way, and I'm just sliding that with the edge of that little plastic spatula. Like I said in previous videos, these are great little plastic spatulas. Get them for about $5 a pack, and they're just so good. They don't hurt your canvas at all. The metal ones can be a little too what was the word? A little too full on to sort of rub and do this sort of work with your canvases. I mean, your canvas will hold up to it, but why risk it when these little plastic ones pose no risk at tearing your canvas in any way, shape or form? I reckon that's pretty good. See how that's sort of it's just random. I'm just doing random strokes with the edge of my palette knife, and I'll just move the canvas around as I do it. Just open that back up a little bit. Bring it back up. There we go. And like I said, I kind of want it to go in every direction I could possibly get it. Quite random. Out of the spikes will come this beautiful red flower, and I reckon it's going to have a little bit of brilliant red and some vermilion red. So I'm already having fun with this. This is fun. Oh, that was a bit big. Might just leave it. You know what? Happy mistakes. Really want to just keep them. I really want to sort of get that needle shape. That needle sort of, that's what I really want to sort of focus on. But I don't want to do too many, because it's going to detract from my flower. Okay, I'm quite happy with that. I reckon that's enough. It does look random, does look spiky, and rather abstract. Now, I said it past, it's always handy when you're doing these sorts of abstract to have a couple of sheets of paper towel so you can clean your instruments as you go along, or your tools of the trade. Now, what am I going to do here? What was my idea? Oh, that's right. I'm thinking about some dots. So I'll get this round brush and I'll kind of grab a little bit of more white than the yellow ochre. I'm just thinking about just doing some random. Again, I might be contradicting myself here. I don't want to get too busy with these edges. But by the reference photo, as you can see those dots? I'm not going to make it as regimented as they are, because you can see they're kind of like in a line. But I just wanted to see if I could add a couple because I am going to do some splatters, and I possibly will, depending on how much these spikes here take away from my main subject when we come to paint that in. So that's what we don't want. We don't really want those. I might just see if I can follow a line. We don't really want that to the viewer to focus on that red flower, on the spikes. You want them to focus on the actual subject. And you've probably heard it before, you can get too cute, or in this case, a little too busy with the painting, and your brain just can't settle on one thing. It's looking at too much information at once, and it's like an information overload. And what did I say before? Brilliant red, there it is, brilliant red, and I've got here the vermilion. Excellent, excellent. So I'll just push that guy up a little bit. I'm going to squeeze out some of this straight onto the bowl, the saucer. Do some vermilion. And some titanium white. Unfortunately, I don't have my beautiful filbert. I've got a filbert there, but it's a little bit too small for this, for this job I want to do. Yeah, that's all squeezed out the side. So I'm going to have to go. I wanted my filbert, but I don't have my filbert. So hopefully I can pull this off, because as you can see with the reference photo, those red petals have a sort of like not a sharp ending, but they're kind of like a paddle on those petals. So I'm going to try and get it down and bring it around. I'll do my outer perimeter and then I'll work towards the center. And as you can see, we've got that dark center, and we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So I'm going to grab a bit of that vermilion first, really load that brush up, and I want to get it right on that edge. And we'll start off up here, and I'm going to try and take up a fair bit of this canvas. All right, so there's our first petal. I'm going to grab a little bit of that red. Now I'm not going to get this obviously perfect, but we kind of got a little offshoot there. And I'll use again that edge. Get another little petal out here. And see how I'm just using the corner of that. Like I said, it would have been better with a filbert. Now I've got a little bit of black paint there. That's going to be a little bit of a pain because it's probably still wet, but we'll see if we can scrape over the top of it. I'll see if I can bring that in. Oh, yep, beautiful. Painted straight over the top of that. Nice. Okay, we've got another one here. Bring him in. And it's like, oh, see now, see that white? It's not the end of the world, but I've obviously picked up a little bit of white. Now, I have got some white on my brush there, so I'm going to use that. I must have grabbed it when I was doing that paint, but I'm going to use that. I'm going to just bring that, look at that. And that's kind of like that color we wanted. Sorry, my beautiful Australian accent. So I'm just using those two reds, but I think it's more of the brilliant red there. Tiny little bit at the top here. I probably should get my whole shape before I get too crazy. Go too crazy with this, all these colors. But I'm half tempted to go a little bigger again. I might have to. Well, let's see if we can start, because I'm thinking this is going to come around here. I just don't think it's going to be big enough. I really want to take up a lot of that canvas. So let's come out to here and go even bigger. Let's go large or go home. Here we go. That's kind of the size we want. And I'm just placing that down and curving that as that brush. I'm getting that edge, and once I get that edge or that point of the petal, I just squash the whole brush down. If that makes sense and it's translating onto the, Now there's a little one back there. I'm going to see if I can just sneak him in there, because they're quite random, these petals. There's no real, I mean, it is obviously folding out, but right now there's that big one. I'll go and try and see if I can get him over here, and also keep in mind, I'm going to try and keep this symmetrical. So I've like in a perfect world, I'd probably, if I had my my white charcoal pencil and that was dry, because I haven't got a hairdryer here either, if that was dry, I could do these, dry that whole outer section, and then with the hairdryer, grab my white charcoal pencil, and I'd probably put a saucer or something round for a bit of a reference. Photo's gone dark there, for a bit of a reference, and that would then give me a bit of an idea, but I'm just going to wing it. But if you were doing this and you're following along at home, I would recommend drying that outer surface. Get yourself a white marker, or not like a texter, but like some sort of white pencil. Like I said, the charcoal would be perfect. And then just put like something like that. Even this tape would have been a good size. Something a little bit bigger than that for your circle. And then you can work around that with your petals and still be as random as you like, if that makes sense. Hope it does. All right, so I'm going to grab a bit more of that white. There's one out here, because don't forget I'm going to come back over these. Okay, we've got another one out here. Yeah, because I'm mindful of the camera, so you guys can see what I'm doing. My hand, I do apologise if my hand gets in the way of this demonstration. Alright. There's a little petal in there too, so. I don't know why when I put these little ones I'd like to whisper. I'll just put a little one down the back here. I don't know why I do that. But anyway, now I've got that one. I've got another one here, so I'm going to add a little bit more white again. Just going to put a little bit more white on that one. That'll give it a little bit of a sheen. All right. Now another one in here. Like so. And then we've got a nice dark one out the back. Just a little one out the back here. Which we will add more and more colour to as we go. So I'm just going to pad that, because I said I want these, I really want some of these lines to have a little bit of texture. So I don't mind really throwing the paint on, if that makes sense. Now I've got another one in here, so I'm going to come right in here now. I'm starting on that inner layer of petals. That was that one. We've got another big one over here. So there's another little one in there, so we'll put him in, or her. And when this dries, I may even just go back and add a little bit more interest, so you guys can, it makes more sense. Hands floating around here. All right, now I'm going to get another big one. There. Bring that in. Nice. This is someone's birthday present, so hopefully Rachel, they love it. A little shout out to Rachel. She's a great artist herself, actually. Okay, so I've got that there. Now I'm going to bring that. Well, that's looking quite pretty, isn't it? Got another one here. little bit of white on this one. Virtually. This one's at the back. So, and I'm just loosely using that reference. Don't feel that you've got to get every petal perfect. But having said that, it is good to also try to stick to it to a certain degree. Otherwise, you're going to have petals everywhere. It just won't make any sense. Into there. And that one can come in over here. And I will no doubt, I mean, I'm going to have to go, as you can see, that's getting translucent, quite translucent, so I want more of an opaque look where it's, so there's no colour coming through those petals, so to speak. But I'm quite happy with the composition. Where's that petal? I'm going to bring that petal in, because there's kind of one behind him. Oh, my daughter be going good. It's a her dad. Alright. Yeah, I do. There's one at the back, but I think it'll throw it out a little if I include it. And now I'm going to move to the center. I might actually leave that one there because I think that looks pretty good. Quite happy with that. Come back into here, and I'm going to go a little bit darker, and later on, once this dries, I'm going to just come around with a little bit more of a really dark, add a little bit more darker pigment to that brilliant red, just to really sort of highlight those shadows in the center. I'm so tempted to throw that one in. Let's see how we go, eh? Let's throw caution to the wind. See how we go. Where is it? So there's that one coming around here. There's kind of one out here. So let's do it. Like I was saying before, you don't want to get too cute. No, that's okay. I don't think I've thrown the symmetry out too much. That's good. Now I'm going to grab some of that white in that corner, like that. Pick that up. And there we go, voila. Get a bit more white on this one. Tell a lie, all I did was smudge it. Oh, that's good. Notice that? That's actually, I'm really happy with that. Now I'm going to try and see if I can get that much white in that one. Probably shouldn't be lazy and should switch out brushes, but I really want to give a good example of how to do these petals. And that's why you really want to get your outside ones done before you start venturing in to the center. That way it does look like those petals are enveloping over each other as you go along. I think that's how they do it with the roses. That's how I do it. Sound like I know what I'm doing almost, don't I? I'm just going to see if I can get my hand bent in such a way so that you guys can still see what I'm doing here. But still add a little bit more white. Look at that. Happy with that. Alright, I hope you guys are. Now, I'm going to leave that, let that dry for a bit and start to focus on this center. Okay, so to do that, I'm just going to push that up there a little bit, bring my little saucer in over the edge. Again, back to the raw umber. Oh, raw umber. I keep calling it raw umber. It's burnt umber. And a little bit of that lamp black. Put that in there as well. And I'm going to grab a little, mainly that. Might start off with that really dark brown first. I'll try and get a bit of a circle happening here. And again, I'm just going to roll my wrist around and try to get a circle happening. filming with my camera, so I can't give you other angles, and I'm just not that good at all technical. I'm going to pick up a little bit of that lamp black now. Now, I've kind of I've gone a bit skew-whiff, as we like to say in Australia, with that center. I should have probably brought it down here a little bit more, as opposed to the reference, because that we want to sort of shoot that white little, I don't know, the thing that the center thing there. I guess the bees land on that for their pollen, and sound like a real botanist, don't I? Know what I'm talking about. Anyway, right. I'm actually mixing a bit of that black, almost put my brush into the coffee cup, which I think is the bane of every artist. Now, I'm just going to find my own little nooks and crannies, so to speak. So there's a bit of a nook and cranny in there. And I've got a bit of a feeling I'm going to try something here. In a minute, I'm going to cut out a piece of paper with that sort of size hole, and then to get all those thousands of little white dots in there, instead of sit there for ages with a brush and have mum fall asleep on me. Again, I'll make that little joke, as if mum would watch me. I'm going to watch you paint. That's how she says it too. If I'm going to watch you paint, I couldn't think of anything worse. Thanks, mum. But she's my only viewer. For the first 30 seconds anyhow. After that, she's over it. So as you can see here, I'm just finding these my own little folds. Please put in the comments that you're still here, if you've actually heard that little joke about mum watching. And it is a joke, because I don't think she's ever watched any of my videos. Hey mum, want to see one of me on TV? No! Thanks, good on you. Righto, now. So please put it in the comments if you actually got this far, and tell me that you're still here and you're hopefully enjoying it. All right. I'm trying to kind of bring that center. Okay, you can see that shadow. It's kind of around here, and like I said, I'm only loosely going by it, so it's no biggie if I don't get it exactly right. Just want to build that color up, and because it's wet, I'm just going to drag it and keep revealing the canvas underneath, which I don't want. So I might just let that dry for a little bit. And the good thing about acrylics is it really does only take a second. But see, I'm kind of not trying to have that perfect circle. So when I wanted to do the circle, I just squashed the brush down and pretty much just do a twist of the brush. And that pretty much gives you a good circle. And then you want to then pretty much manipulate that circle, because let's face it, in nature, it looks perfect if it's not perfect, if that makes sense. All right, I'm going to stop playing with that for a minute, wash out my brush and cut out a piece of paper, and then I'm going to try some splatters. So I'm hoping I can do like heaps of little splatters in the center there, and then we'll bring that other funny looking white thing, whatever it is. Now here's a little piece of paper, like I said, the A4 piece of paper, and I'm being quite subtle here. Now, please like and subscribe. I'll ban, you're shameless. Shameless. Now there's, I reckon about that size hole. So I'm going to, without getting too technical here, I want to go on the inside of it. So I'm just going to pretty much do a terrible circle. That's good enough. And I'll just fold that over now, cut that out with a pair of scissors. I reckon still actually, might even be too big. So I might go to the inside of that. Alright, so I'll go about that size, and I'll grab the scissors. All right, like magic. See, you didn't have to wait long. I've got the scissors there. I'm going to fold that over. See if I can get it fairly close. All right. Kids, make sure mum and dad do this. Mum or dad. It'd be a bit hard if they're both doing it at the same time. They could get their fingers cut. All right. Chop one of their fingers off. See what your art's done to me? It's made me for life. Okay, now there's a circle. I reckon I'm just gonna go a little bit wider with that little hole there. And I'm probably being a bit pedantic here, but I know that if I get enough dots in there, it's going to look a bit odd if I don't have it fairly perfect to that circle. Okay, look at that. Ta-da! Okay. As you can see there, I'm just folding that into itself and almost cross-hatching. Well, I am actually cross-hatching, so I'm going sort of that way, chopping it across, and then across that way. Really mix that in. And then I'm going to make a nice slurry out of that. Nice slurry, and but not add too much water, but I still want to be able to make it enough that it'll flick off the brush, because right now it won't. All right, so I've got this brush here, nice little thick brush there, and I'm going to add a little bit of water. So I'll bring that into the scene. So I'll just bring that down. There we go. Now what I'm going to do, I don't know why I've got that tape there. I'll just get that out of the way. It's annoying me. Okay, now I'm going to load that little brush up with water, and I'm going to start to turn all of this paint here into a slurry. And I can already hear the professional painters out there going crook. You freak! You're going to break the consistency of the paint. You're going to make it so it's, you know, no longer any good and blah blah blah. And I tell you what, I've been painting for a while, and I've never ever had any dramas adding water to my acrylic, ever. The only thing that will happen is that it can be a bit too translucent, and that's why you still really need to keep that pigment. You don't want to make it too runny, otherwise the minute it hits the canvas, you're just going to see through it. Okay, I have probably, having said that, in this example, I possibly have added a little too much water. So I'm going to have to mix up a bit more, because that's a little too runny, and I don't think it's going to hold its colour. Alright, so I'm just going to fold that into the slurry, that white paint, and it's probably a good thing actually, because there's probably a little too much pigment of that yellow ochre. I really only needed the tip of the palette knife to go in there just to turn it off white, as you can see by that reference photo. It's kind of white. There's some wider seeds or whatever they are over the others, but on the whole, it's kind of like a bone color, or this antique white, which is beautiful. All right, let's try it now. Still pick up a little bit of that water. Probably should have cleaned that brush out, but I'm going to go to the side here first. Yeah, I think that's going to work. All right, here we go. Ooh, a little bit too much there. I only want, want to get away from that. Wants to, of course, congeal or all center into that one little section, so it no longer looks like little dots and seeds. It just looks like a big blobby mess. Yep. No matter how I do this, it wants to just... Alright, so I'm going to see if I can find another brush. This is live TV, everybody. Alright, I thought I'll switch out to this bristle brush and see if that makes any difference. Probably won't, but hey, you got to try these things. See here, that dot there, there's too much water. See how it just see through? And that's not what we want. We want to be able to make sure that once it hits, it's going to retain that color and make it look like there's thousands of little seeds down in there. Don't worry, I've already got a plan. See how that's, you know, blobbed over there. Look at all these beautiful dots. Wish I could get them where I want it. It's like Murphy's Law. It'll go anywhere you don't want, everywhere you want it to go. Of course, it won't go where you want it to go. Does that make sense? Don't think so. All right. I'm going to try now to just give up. This is not working. It is working, by the way. It's just, I'm going to have to make some repairs, which I think what I'm going to do is I think I might try the same method, but with black or a bit of a mixture, because it just wants to, for some reason, blob into that corner. Of course, when you want to do this as a demonstration, it's never going to work out. It would have been perfect if no one was watching. All right, let's see if I can't make a mess. Move that out the way, put that over there. Move. I'm going to see if I can... Oh, got a little bug in there now. Just gets better and better. Grab some of that, grab some of that. Oh, too much of that. Doesn't really matter. I'm going to be turned into a slurry. Alright, got some fresh water. Now I'm just going to, again, try to make a bit of a slurry. Probably added too much water once again, after me carrying on before about not worrying about adding too much water. But I really want to just pretty much mix that brown and black into a nice little slurry. So this is just a repair job, and because I want to do it all in one session, normally I just wait for it to dry and then I just go and paint some black around it just to give it those gaps. But let's see if this works. Of course it'll go everywhere, but oh, hang on viewers, check this out. I think we might be on to a winner. Chicken dinner. Oh, come on, I'm just getting here. But no. So much for my shameful plug, you can't even see it now. Rightio, okay, well I'm thinking that's enough. Okay, move that out the way, we'll do the big reveal. Right, we've got the bit of a clean up there. Let's move that out the way and let's see how we've gone. Not too bad. Right, I'm going to mix up some more of that bone colour and let's just see if I can do it with a brush, as I was hoping to do. Right, that's there. Oh, I just washed off a heap of that yellow ochre. Alright, again, mix that right into itself. Again, I've put too much pigment with it, so now that's going to be a nightmare to try and bring back to white. So I'm just going to push that over the side. It's not the end of the world when you go contaminate your whole colour with the other colour. It's too strong. So what I'll do now is I'll grab some more of that white, put it in a separate part of that plate, because I really don't need that much. And I'm just going to grab a little bit of that, maybe even too much, so just a tiny bit at a time. We only just really want to just turn it off that white to a bone colour or a nice cream. Just like that. So So if you're doing a large scale painting and you do happen to make your pigment too strong, just push the paint aside and then just go put that lighter base color down, lighter tone, and then what you've already mixed up, add that first before you worry about your stronger pigment. Just put that aside. I do have some black spots here, so I'm going to grab that. Here's another little tip. So see how it's sort of, I haven't got that nice sharp edge, and I really want to have a really sharp point to put these dots in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to twirl the brush backwards. So now look at that nice, can you see that sharp tip now? That's what we're looking for. We want that real sharp tip. So once you get your paint in there, and I really need to load it up because I want to get as much paint on that tip, and I'll just bring it back like that. So let's get some dots happening. And as you can see, it's just that little section there took a certain amount of time. That's why I was trying to just cut it out a little bit by doing the splatters. I'll stay away from that section. It doesn't really matter actually. I was carrying on about it, but now that I look at it, it actually is a conglomeration of color, of white color there anyhow. So it wasn't that much of a big deal. Got some black dobs there you probably can't see on the camera. I'm trying to stay away from those. Otherwise I'm just going to have to wash my brush every 5 seconds. Now if you know of anybody that might get something out of this little tutorial that might help them out, please share me around. I don't mind being shared around at all. Oh, there we go, whispering again. Just going to add a few more in here. Don't know why I do that. See, there you go. I have hit some of that black, but it kind of looks all right. All right, I really want to do that little thingy there, little dangly thing that comes out of it. Anyway, and I'm gonna have to tweak this, but for the sake of the video, you can kind of get the idea. So if I was to do that now, I might just see how I go, just bringing a line in. So I'm just gonna, once I do make contact with the canvas, I'm just gonna try and position my arm in such a way it doesn't get too wobbly, and I'm just gonna drag it straight to the center. Let's see how we go. All right. I'm gonna go a little bit higher because there's a big black dob there I want to kind of miss. Yep, there we go. I'll add a little bit more water, and the good thing is that those little tentacles coming off are kind of all over the show, so they're kind of going back in towards itself as well. Probably should lock my hand, so I'm going to just try and steady that hand. They're all coming back towards that peak. That center of that little tower or whatever it is. Add a few of my own by the looks of it, because even the reference looks pretty bad. Sort of all over the show. This one I'll bring from the center and bring it out, but probably didn't really work that well. Wish I hadn't have. Now, it's kind of almost two coming off, isn't there? I'm just going to put some little sort of baubles and knobs at the end of these little tentacles or feelers, just to kind of make it look like it is going back towards itself. I'm just going to have another look at that reference photo. Now I'm glad I did take another look at that, because I was actually looking at two of those little white runners thinking that was the center of that little whatever this thing's called. I need a botanist. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put a little bit of that red paint, because now that I look at it, the stalk that comes out from the center, even though I've got it in the wrong place, it kind of goes that way now that I've expanded the photo. But I'll just go over the top of that line, that white line that I've already done. And it's going to kind of, it's good actually. It's going to kind of highlight that, the fact that I've done it with a bit of white. So I might even put a bit more white in there again. It's actually more of a stark white, but I'm just going to add a little bit of water, a little bit more of that white. Because even the reference photo doesn't really want to, kind of, there's a bit of that white flower. So I'm going to have to go over these flowers again. So I'll probably end up painting over this when I come to touch this up when it all dries tomorrow. But like I said, I will give you a look at that when I finish the painting. But for the sake of doing this all in one sitting now, I'm just going to persevere. Kind of goes that way. So I'm going to go virtually the opposite to what they've got, or what the flower's got. They've got what God's got. So let's see if I can put a little bit of a knob. I want to make it look like it's folding back into that center, and there is a red dot in there. There we go. Yep. So as you can see, I don't know if it's picking up, but now that that's drying, you can start to see that black part of the canvas coming out around here, around there, in these areas. So that's where I'm going to have to go over it again. And then once I evict that little bug that decided to live there, I'm going to start to add a little bit more shade, or let's say a darker pigment around these edges. So I'm going to still hit these with a bit of white just to sort of make them come out a little bit more. And then I'll come in behind that with a darker, with that brilliant red, which is a little darker. I may even add some like a little bit of that raw sienna, raw umber, just to be able to make that red a little darker again. All right. In the photo, it's actually kind of coming around here, and it's kind of like a red stalk coming out, but I'm not, and it's, the good thing is not actually perfect, so, which is a good thing. So I've got a white one, but now I'm going to accentuate that, which is great, with a bit of red. And just so it flows off the brush a little bit better, I'm going to add a little bit more water. And then again, see that I twisted that brush because I want a nice, it's probably a bit big this brush, but I'm far too lazy to start swapping out brushes. I'm going to try and get in the middle of that line, that white line. Right. Excellent. Kind of looks sort of authentic now. That's all right. And I'm going to add some more white to that. But I think that's probably enough for now. I think you got a pretty good idea of how it's going to turn out. I will work on that once that dries, and I will give you a look. For you, it won't take much time, but I will come back to that very shortly and show you the end product. So don't go anywhere. All right, guys, so I've got this now pretty much completed. I'm pretty happy with that. And what I'm going to do now is I've got it signed with heft there. What else did I want to tell you about it? It's pretty much, I've gone and just added a few more white highlights in there and just a little bit of green just to give it that sort of cactusy look. I think the spikes work quite well. It's not that busy that it takes it away from the main subject. Hit that with some varnish, and that's going to really make these reds pop as well. Especially a nice, look, I don't usually go a gloss, but I think a nice gloss in this case would go really well. And if not a gloss, then possibly a semi-gloss or a satin. And as you can see, it's got quite a nice sheen to it already with that raw paint without being varnished at all. So I think that come up quite well. I did go through here and touch it up a little bit with some more dabs with the round brush. I just went to a titanium white for the little seed tower there that's coming out the center of it. No doubt there's some long botanical word for it. But yeah, I'm quite happy with it, and I think my niece is going to love it. So hopefully you got something out of today's video, and I will catch you in the next one.